On behalf of IMT College of Management, I welcome our chief guest, Shri Shravan Kumarji, who is a well-known personality of IIFCL Asset Management Company Limited and Chief Investment Officer. Welcome, sir, to IMT College of Management. I really apologize that since morning I was not able to interact with you, sir, because today we also having one event. But I know, sir, after this event, definitely we will sit and discuss a lot of things which can be benefited to our students. I heartily welcome the organizing team of this event. Congratulate Amit Rai, sir, who has organized this program very nicely. Ajay Chaudhary ji, Somesh sir, head of the department, and all the BBA department, all other faculties and students. See, I don't know about finance and finance market because we have an expert with us. So definitely sir will share a lot of things. But today if you see the written on here, that is empowerment, financial empowerment. And when you see the other term, the term is written here that financial empowerment and the wealth creation, through the wealth creation. These two terms I am expecting from BBA student that they should know it. So the session will be on the financial empowerment and wealth creation. I request to sir that sir, please highlight these two terms in a detail so our students should know about that. And if we talk about individually or if we talk about for the corporates, empowerment, financial empowerment, even for you, suppose after your graduation, post-graduation, when you start your career, and if you not started thinking for the investing in different assets, those who are from the management, even the BCA student, they don't know, BGMC student, they don't know, but the financial assets, BBA students, they might be knowing what are the financial assets. And when you start your career, at that time, if you started and at that time, if you plan individually for your investment in the financial assets, that's a great thing. Gone are the days when the people used to invest in the fixed deposits, saving schemes and all that. Because if you just review the rates, the present government, I am not blaming anybody, but the present government, you see what is the trend in the market today, if we talk about the financial market. If you go for the conservative investments, you will just see that maximum interest rate is 4.5, 4.9 and max to max is 5. Even if the senior citizens or the monthly income schemes of the post office, if you see, there are also very little rates. Gone are the days when the rates are 13% per annum. Why the government is doing? The government is doing that instead of investing in the traditional and conservative plans, you should go for the more risk-taking plans. Say for example, mutual fund. One of the most prominent and the favorite investment assets. I like, sir, myself, but in the mutual fund always there is a line. The risk subject to the condition of the market. And again, you have so many pro-growth plans, you have very different link plans, ULIPs and all that. And there, if you just calculate debt-equity ratios, you will find that if the debt is more, equity is less, the return is less. And if the equity is more and debt is less, the return is more. That is simply directly proportionate risk and the return. So the theory of risk and return is well said here. If you earn more, if you get more return, definitely risk is more. So all these things, so I request to sir that please explain first of all what is financial empowerment and where the India ranks. And again I request sir that please explain in the two main platforms, at the individuals and for the corporates, how the Indian corporates are getting a financial empowerment in today's time. That is the one of the story. And the third is wealth creation. Again, the wealth creation at 2 points. Individuals, as an individual, and because as an individual is also very important, and in the perspective of the corporates, companies and other institutions. So hopefully this session is going to be very knowledgeable and everybody will use. Even I will love to listen, but sir, excuse me, as I have a second meeting, so I will leave it. But now, last thing, please ask as many as questions, because Amit sir has taken a lot of pain to arrange this event. So please give a big hand of applause for Amit sir, Somit sir and Ajay Chaudhary sir for their hard working. Thank you very much.
I have come from IIFCL, that is the India Infrastructure Finance Corporation Limited's asset management company. India Infrastructure Finance Corporation is promoted by Government of India, 100% owned by Government of India, and it has a balance sheet of more than 1 lakh crores of assets, mainly funding for the infrastructures related vertical. Could be road asset, could be solar energy, could be wind energy, could be thermal, could be nuclear power, could be airport or seaport, education institutions, hospitals, townships, industrial townships, everything. So, but I have worked in a asset management company before joining here. I worked in banking sector also, as well as mainly the asset management sector, that is mutual fund sector. So, with whatever I gained, I thought let me share it with all of you. See, my discussion will be a two-part. One is the financial planning. Why we need to give weightage for the financial planning. What is the need of saving money for the future? So that will be the first part. Why it is required? Maybe I can throw this. Second part is, based on our risk profiling. Risk profiling is based on the age and the earning capacity. So based on the risk profiling, based on the earning potential, so we need to do asset allocation. So maybe at the age of 25, 27 or 30, whatever risk we are taking, in year 2022, same kind of a risk we cannot able to take it in year say 2042 or 2062. Oh, because when when we are growing, based on the age profiling, then our risk profiling also has to be modified. That is more important. Whatever the risk we are taking in the investing in the financial assets at the age of 30, same thing we cannot do it at the age of 60. So it has to be modified. So that is the second part which I will be highlighting. There is a asset allocation based on our age and risk profiling and other parameters. So the first part I am coming again. What is financial planning? See, financial planning is. So maybe I'll ask question to the floor also. Why we need to save money? Assuming that you are say 30 or 27. Why you need to save money for today? So anyone can explain on that? Any volunteers? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Why we have to save money for the future?
Take the mic.
Yeah.
First thing is medical health, because medical is something which emergencies कभी भी happen हो सकता है. तो अभी अगर आपके अकाउंट में अगर 10 लाख रुपए नहीं है, फ्यूचर के लिए अगर आपके पास 10 लाख रुपए नहीं है, फॉर एग्जांपल कि मैं ही हूँ, मेरी अगर तबीयत खराब हो जाए, और सरकारी हॉस्पिटल का सबको पता है क्या होता है. प्राइवेट में आप जाते हैं, 2 दिन का 1,50,000 गया. ओके, तो अगर आपके पास पहले से मनी नहीं है आपके अकाउंट में 10 लाख 15 लाख मिनिमम 5 लाख, तो मेडिकल हेल्थ तो आप भूल जाइए कि आप इलाज आप करवा पाएंगे. सेकेंड थिंग इज एजुकेशन. फॉर एग्जांपल कि जैसे अभी हम प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशंस में पढ़ रहे हैं, कोई लोन लेके पढ़ रहा है, कोई किसी के फादर्स ने अपने बच्चे की LIC करवाई होगी, या फिर किसी सहारा इंडिया में किसी ने इन्वेस्ट किया होगा, या किसी ने कुछ किया होगा, तो उस तरीके की कुछ सेविंग्स जो उसने फ्यूचर के लिए बचाई होगी अपने बच्चे को पढ़ाने के लिए. देन थर्ड थिंग इज, अगर मैं आज के टाइम में तो बहुत कम होता है वैसे, लेकिन हाँ जैसे मैं पास्ट की बात करूँ तो हाँ लोग अपने बच्चों की शादी के लिए पैसे इकट्ठे करते थे कि हाँ सेविंग फॉर द फ्यूचर, या फिर अभी भी बिहार के कुछ साइट्स में भी लोग सेव करते हैं मनी। एंड मोर थिंग इज कि जैसे आज के टाइम में जैसे कि सर ने बोला कि हाइक है एक कि हाँ we have to invest in cryptos, we have to invest in bitcoins, in ethereums, in NFTs and mutual funds। then उसके लिए भी कुछ लोग अभी पैसे सेव करते हैं कि नहीं मुझे at the age of 20, at the age of 21 I have to invest in mutual funds, I have to invest in cryptos, I have to invest in NFTs वगैरह। so there's three main things, medical health, emergency, anything कभी भी happen हो सकता है, then education and then cryptos and mutual funds वगैरह।
So, I think you answered most of the parts, whatever I asked for it. Your good name, please?
Sir, Praveen Kumar sir.
So, Praveen. I think Praveen answered most of the queries, whatever I asked. See, we are saving, as he rightly mentioned, we are saving money for any emergency medical requirement. Second thing is we need to save money for the children education, maybe for a shelter, buying a house, buying a house. Third is whatever we are earning today, same thing will not be earning after 40 years. So if you find out maybe 50 years back, you know what is India's average life expectancy? How many years normally the Indians would have lived some 50 years back? You know, average life closer to around 54 years. And today the data is more than 76. So that means life expectancy also moving up because of science and medical science getting developed, medical facilities getting improved, and awareness level and everything. So the life expectancy also moving up. So that means, you know, we need to save some money today for the future after our retirement, assuming that we are retiring at the age of 60 or 58. Normally private companies, even people retire at the age of 55 also. MNC also mostly it is 55. So if you are retiring by age of 55, after that you know, assuming that life expectancy is going to 70, say later 80 years, that means no, not today 2022. Maybe if we take 2042, the life expectancy for an average Indian could be 80 years. That means after our retirement, say after retiring age of 55 or 60, 20-25 years we have to run on our own. And at the end of the day, olden days that used to be a joint family concept, you know, the children or whatever, you know, they support the parent at the old age. Today, that concept also slowly coming down. So that means we have to, whatever we save today, that we have to manage it for the future post our retirement. Post retirement also we need to have some money to run our life with the today's standard of living. That is also more important. So today, average, you know, if you want to run an average life with the two husband, wife and two school going children, you know, maybe even tier 2 or tier 3 location also, we need minimum around 30,000 or 25,000 to 30,000 rupees money to run the family with the children education plus other medical requirement. Average around 25,000 average. I'm talking about tier 2. Maybe if you go to tier 1 location like Mumbai or maybe New Delhi or Bangalore, the expense will be much more higher. You know, including shelter and everything. So we need to have a standard life, quality of life post retirement. That also we need to have money. That money we can able to save only today. Third. And fourth is like what Praveen has said, you know, you need to give a good education for your children. So that's one of the purpose in which we earn money also. So when we education like what Praveen said, maybe 15 years back or 30 years back the education expenditure used to be lower, but today the education is much more becoming costlier. And that too we want to send your children for a medical, and that too in what is called private university or something. It's running into more than 1 crore for a 6 years period, you know. So that means you need to have a more savings for your children education, future professional education, or maybe their technical education or medical education, whatever. That is also very important. So plus any, like what you said, main thing is a medical emergency, we need to have some money. So these are the reasons in which we need to save money for the requirement. So that is nothing but a financial planning. So this is what I explained in detail some time back, you know. So we have a 3 phases of life for any average Indian or any average human being on the planet. We have a 3 phases of life. One is up to 25 years. Normally it goes for education. Either could be a right from nursery, then primary school, high school, higher secondary, college, or post graduation, or top PhD, or whatever. So that goes for initial phase of the phase 1. Then phase 2 is up to say around 35 years. So basically it's a yearning years. So that's the time you will be earning money, number 1. Number 2, you will be spending money also. You'll be spending money. So your quality of life also will be much more better during this the second phase between 25 to 60, right? So initially you will get married, say assuming that they get you married at the age of say 26, then the childbirth, then you assuming that you don't have a shelter, you are living in a place like say Delhi, you assuming that you don't have a shelter there, you don't have a house, then you have to you'll be buying a 2 BHK apartment or whatever, So the housing, that also constitutes good percentage in your entire phase of your career, what you are earning. You'll be investing good money, because even what I understood from 2 BHK apartment in NCR region will be costing at least around 80 lakh to 1 crore. And so then your children education, assuming that you have 2 children, starting from nursery school, then your high school, whatever, then junior college, then post graduation. So the education also becoming very expensive nowadays. And third, that the last stage in the phase 2 is a child's marriage. So that is also important. Today it is a expensive one. Then you are entering the retirement age, phase 3. So in retirement age, then I told you, 40 years back, average Indian's life is used to be 54, 55 years. Now it is running into closer to 76 years. After some years, it may go to 80 years. So you will be living after retirement, assuming that you are retiring at the age of 60. Another 20 years or 25 years, you have to stand on your own financial, what is called, based on your bank balance and other savings, you have to run your life. So that comes in the phase 3. So need to have a comfort life in your phase 2 and phase 3, that is during your earning years as well as retirement age, then need to have planning for a savings. That is more important. So whatever we earn today, money, if you spend everything today, then we cannot have a better life, or maybe peaceful life, or whatever life without any whatever, taking care of all the medical emergency and other emergency. You might find challenge in phase 3. So that's the main reason we need to have some savings. We need to have some financial planning and others. That is very important. The next. It's going to this. What I mentioned here, the financial planning takes care of some various component here, very, very important component. Like, assuming that you are in phase 2, you are in the earning period of that, whatever, 30 years or whatever earning period. So we need to save money for what I told you, for education for our children, education planning. Okay, and the second thing is, whatever we earn, then we have to pay, there is an income taxes involved, assuming that we are earning say around 15 lakh per month, per year. So there will be income tax. So for tax planning also we need to save. There is a section 88, in which you can save some PPF, the Public Provident Fund, or NSC, or even the medical insurance. So there you get some medical, there you get a tax planning. So you save money on the tax. Like that, whatever you are buying house for self-use, there is a tax deduction you can claim. So tax planning also very important for when you are planning for a financial planning. So that is very important. Then third is like cash flow management. So assuming that I need some. So today I'm assuming that 30 years now, right? And I have 2 children. So I'm planning. Okay, they will go for a college education. Today 2022. Say another 20 years down the line. Say another 17 years down the line. So that means 2040 or 2038 they may go for a college, right? So then the expense will be much more higher. Assuming that both the children you want to give a professional education. So the expense you are planning, so whatever I said today, private medical university, for a 6 years MBBS course, at least in Bangalore or even Pune and all, it will be costing around close to around 1.25 crores. So that means you plan today, 2038 or 2039, your daughter need to get a medical education for a 6 years MBBS or whatever, later MS or MD. So then you remember that 2039 or 2040, you have a cash flow of say around closer to around, say today it's 1.25 crores. That time if you include the inflation and others, it will be moving up. So assuming that whatever 1.25 crores today the private universities MBBS seats, medical seat, that medical education, 20 years down the line it will be costing say around 7 crores. So 7 crores means you have to plan, for a 6 years course, almost closer to around 1 crore and 15 lakh or 1 crore 20 lakh. You have to make a payment for every year, right from 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 44. So when you plan, then something you need to have a savings for a payout for the 2040 or 41. So that's nothing but a cash flow management. That you have to make a plan. That's what I put in the bubble here, cash flow management. Then retirement planning we discussed, education planning we discussed, tax planning also we said. There's a lot of central government of India is providing taxation for various savings what you have, like what I mentioned, PPF, national savings schemes, then medical aid policy, then NPS, National Pension System, pension kind of a system which PF party is regulating it. Then there is a government of India's institution. Then plus shelter, house what you are buying, so there also you can claim for a tax benefit. So that comes under the tax planning. Then third is another bubble what I given here is a risk management. Say like today, age of 25 or 30, whatever risk you are taking, same kind of a risk if the person cannot take at the age of 50 or 55. So that is explained in the risk management. So that means initial stage, in the younger years, we take a higher risk. Higher risk we can able to take. Or maybe higher risk or maybe out of 10-point risk scale, 10 being the highest risk, maybe you can take somewhere around 6 to 10 kind of a risk level we can take for a future saving. Whereas at the age of, say, at the 55 or 57, we cannot take kind of a 6 to 10 being the highest risk and 0 being the lowest risk. That kind of a risky instrument, financial instrument, or risky other asset classes, savings asset classes, we cannot able to invest here. So that's what I explained about the risk management. So that normally each person, each professional, when you are working or maybe you have to do a risk assessment based on the age or based on the income generation per year, plus whatever other assets we have, including financial assets and physical assets. Based on that, based on risk profiling, we can able to get an idea. There we can put some money, which kind of asset class we can invest money. So that comes under the risk management kind of a vertical here. And this is what we said, the inflation we discussed. In the beginning of the discussion, we discussed about the inflation. See, assuming that small example I have given here, the bread. So whatever year 2000, financial year 2000, like what Amit sir explained, Dr. Amit Rai explained. Yearly we used to buy a 5 rupees biscuit, say Parle-G biscuit, glucose biscuit. It used to be around 85 grams or 90 grams. Remember 10 years back when I bought, used to be 100 grams, 5 rupees packet. Okay, today 5 rupees, you get the biscuit for 5 rupees, but it is not 100 grams. It used to be around 40 grams or 38 grams. Yeah. So even the biscuit companies or marketing companies, so they are also playing mind game, So they are also, instead of raising the rate, because the inflation is moving up, all your input costs for manufacturing a biscuit, like sugar, wheat, then your whatever oil, vegetable oil, everything is moving, labor, transportation cost, everything is moving up. So whatever 10 years back, we used to get Parle-G biscuit for 5 rupees for 100 grams. Today we cannot able to get. So they are giving it for 40 grams or 38 grams, something like that they're giving. So that is mainly because of the increase in inflation. So year 2000, whatever we used to pay for buying a bread of loaf of bread for 10 rupees, today it's more than 30 rupees. Same kind of a rate of inflation if we take around 6% or 5.8% inflation if we take, maybe year 2040 it may reach even 70 rupees. So that means we have to have a savings today, or we need to have some cash flow today for the future requirement, for the future inflation point of view also. That's number one. Same thing I explained here, even the petrol, year 2000 around $28 rupees per liter. Today it is more than 105 or 110 rupees per liter petrol. Even after the take yesterday, finance minister reducing the excise duty on petrol and diesel. Even then, the petrol price and diesel price is moving up. Because today the Brent globally is trading more than $110 per barrel. So when globally the Brent crude price moves up, or IMX crude price moves up, then India also we need to see where all the prices start moving up. So when even the diesel price moves up, then it will lead to a lot of inflation movement higher side. Because in India today, near about 65% of transportation of any goods, like even the biscuits or even the wheat or rice or coal or edible oil, everything is transferred to the truck. So the truck needs diesel to run. So when the diesel price moves up, petrol price moves up, definitely the inflation price will move up. Next slide. So this is what we explained again in the inflation point of view. So whatever we are having today, 10,000 rupees, normal if you take last 20 years or 25 years, India's average inflation, which is given by the Central Bank, Reserve Bank of India, is around 6% per annum. Okay, assuming that 6% per annum, the inflation, whatever we are having today, money is 10,000 rupees. 40 years later, that means 2062, it is equal to 1,02,857. That means today, you are buying as a gold, for say 10 gram, you are buying at 53,000. That means you are buying say around 2 gram of gold for 10,000. Here, when you go to year 2062, that we, assuming that average inflation of 6% per annum, that 2 gram of gold today, what we are buying, gold, 2062 will be coming around to 1,02,857. So that's the data. Last 30 years or 35 years, average inflation we have seen in India is around 6% per annum. So to beat that means, the inflation is taking away all your purchasing power. 6% is very high. If you ask me, in a developed economy, anyone can quote me what kind of inflation in other countries? Maybe like America, maybe even like UK, United Kingdom, like that. Anyone can guess on that.
So might be possible they have the higher inflation rate, but their earning power is also bigger than us.
Yeah.
Their quality of living, their standard of living is far beyond of our standards.
Yeah.
So we can compare our inflation rate with them, but we can't comparing the facilities they are giving to their citizens. We never compare the things or facilities provided by those government to their citizens, like free education, like the kind of medical amenities they are giving.
Yeah.
India is too much lacking in as far as concerned about the medical facilities and the level of education standards are concerned.
Yeah, you are right, Dr. Amit. Yes, Amit. Dr. Amit, you is right. So the quality of life or even the social security system, even for people after retirement, the developed economy, what they are giving is fabulous. And even other facilities, university education, and even the transportation, the quality is very much better. But same time the US, the inflation, average inflation used to run around 1.2, 1.3 for last 25 years, but now it is going up. It is more than double digit today. Yeah. So India, but what we are seeing is the average inflation is around 6% for last so many years, last 30 years or 28 years. Next. And like what Praveen has said, a while ago, we need to have a savings for even the future. We don't know. All of a sudden there could be a medical emergency. So for the medical emergency also, like what he said, if you go to any private medical facility, hospitals, there's quality is good, but same time you need to pay a higher money. So the cost even for ordinary, even the cardiac surgery, heart surgery, today the cost is running into more than some 5-6 lakh rupees for a 1 week kind of or maybe 10 lakhs plus kind of a expenditure will be there. Even for any major ailment, the expense is much more higher. So we need to have a savings for the medical emergency. That's what I'd like to highlight here. Next. So the process of financial planning, so as I mentioned, there is a risk planning, risk profiling we need to do. Risk profiling is based on the age. So the age of 25 or 30, the risk what person can take, assuming that the professional is working for 5 years or 6 years. So he is working in a private organization, so he'll have say another 30 years kind of a career. So at the age of 30 or age of 32, he can take a slightly better risk, based on this age profiling. And but same time, the same person, at the age of 60 or 62, he cannot take similar kind of a risk. So that's what we mainly explain about the risk profiling. Second thing is, at the age of 30, the person has other assets. He has a net worth of say around 30-40 lakh in the other assets, including the residence or maybe in other financial assets. So then whereas he doesn't have any investment into the equity or maybe mutual fund. He has most of the money, financial asset, he saved only in the bank deposit, kind of a FD or maybe bonds or something. So then he can divert at the age of 30 and 32, 35, he can put some extra money into the mutual fund equity schemes, or maybe in the possible direct equity, or maybe through the PMS, portfolio management scheme, or maybe so you can take some better risk. But same time, the person when he reaching age of 60 or 65, he has to reduce the risk. Assuming that time also he has his entire financial assets 100% is the form of equity, then it is not wise enough. It's not wise for him to keep everything there, because end of the day the risky market gives a better return. But same time there is a risk is involved. So end of the day when he is Sensex at Nifty tanks, then his net worth also falls. So maybe that he can able to take a risk at the age of 30, 35 or 40, but not at the age of 65 or 60. So that is, that's what I explained that, financial planning. Design the financial strategy, produce and present your statement of advice. So based on that, you have to make a planning, So risk profiling based on age and based on whatever the asset they have, what kind of asset they have, then we have to design. So normally the risk planner, they take care of that. Even the financial, experts also will advise on the same. Yeah. Next. So the financial landscape, so as we mentioned earlier, we need to have a savings for various things. The savings also could be in form of insurance, and then we told why we need to save money, for expense point of view, living point of view, taxation point of view, retirement point of view, then aspiration point of view, liabilities point of view. So these are the various financial landscape in which we need to have financial planning. Next. So the second part of my discussion is about the asset allocation. So here I'll be discussing mainly about what kind of asset we can take, asset we can allocate, or asset we can invest. So the asset could be anything. It could be a house, it could be a property. This is a normal thing. If you look at Indians, average Indians today, almost 70% of Indians saves money. The 70% of money they invest in physical assets. It could be a land, it could be a house, or it could be a shop or whatever. So that's what mainly they invest in. Only 25% money only goes for financial assets. That includes bank FDs or bank bonds or post office NSE schemes, or could be even the life insurance policies, general insurance policies, medical policies, health insurance policies, or even the national pension system kind of investment. So these are the various the asset classes which we will be discussing for next few slides. Yeah. So what is asset allocation? Maybe just go to the previous slide. So what are the financial assets you have in your mind? Anyone can volunteer here?
So land.
Yeah. Financial assets. Yeah.
Bonds.
Okay.
Purchase. Share markets, if we invest in shares. Share and bonds.
You have.
So we can.
Thank you, Pradeep. Yeah, thank you.
Put,
Yeah. How about you?
We can put our money in stocks. We can buy some bonds, and we have opportunities of gold also, and commercial papers, and we have lots of things around. Like in the mutual funds also, we have various schemes. Like we can put our money in equity and hybrid fund, in debt funds also. And apart from that, we can put our money in new schemes. We can buy. And we can go for drill funds that the government security which basically secure our funds and and give us a regular amount of interest. And we have lots of other investment horizons also apart from that.
Yeah, very good. Your good name, please.
Vinay.
Thank you, Vinay. I think you answered. So Vinay, what you said is you will be investing in a various financial assets, right? Could be bonds, or could be mutual fund, could be ULIP scheme, or could be insurance schemes. Okay. And so each and every asset what you mentioned, it has some different kind of a risk that you know, right? So for example, what you mentioned about the equity asset, it has a higher risk, but same time the return also very high, right? And what's the lowest risk in the category and the financial assets? Government securities. Okay. So the risk is lower, and whereas return also will be moderate or lower, whatever. And so the financial asset also has a various kind of a risk, and plus according to the risk, there's a different kind of accordingly the return also will be different. Okay, so that will be explaining in due time. Yeah, please. So here, this is what we mentioned. When you go for various assets, there could be real estate. Like we mentioned some time back, you know, average Indians, 140 crores Indians if we take, they are about 75% of their investment is mainly in the physical assets. Like, you know, real estate, land, house, apartment, or maybe shop, you know, whatever, you know, mostly the real estate. And some percentage is people invest in gold also. Say gold also is given a return, but again the gold return, it is depending upon the return also volatile. It's not that same level, you know. Today the 10 gram gold is costing say around 53,000 rupees. Same time you have seen, say 10 years back it used to be less than 25,000 rupees, right? So the gold also gives a return, but again its return is linked to the geopolitical development plus other demand supply for the gold in the global market, everything. So Indians also save good amount of gold in the asset form. Next to the physical asset, Indians saves more money into the gold. Third, they save in financial assets. So financial asset like what Vinay said, you know. Vinay said we have various asset classes, equity asset classes, bond asset classes, insurance asset classes, then ULIP asset classes. Like that, you have various asset classes. Even another important component is the cash and deposits of banks. Today, if you look at the banking system, we have more than 15% of assets are financial assets are saved in 15 to 18% is saved in the cash and deposit in the various banks. Could be private sector bank, could be a government-owned bank, or could be cooperative bank. So various assets, around 15 to 18% is saved in cash and deposit. Then you have other alternative investment that we explain maybe after some time. And again, what I mentioned to you, this return also linked to the volatility. Maybe 7 months back, if you see India's market, like what Vinay said, you know, was trading at very high. The equity market was trading high. Sensex was touching 60,000 level, and I'm talking about during Diwali time 2021. Today Sensex has come to around 54,000. Your Nifty is today it's trading around whatever 16,000 kind of a range. That time you have seen it was more than 19,000, closer to 20,000. So the equity market also volatile. It gives a fabulous return, no doubt on that. But same time when the market corrects, from the Diwali 2021 time, market already corrected. I'm talking about broader Nifty, NSE Nifty, the broader index has corrected more than 24-25%. That means whatever you would have, so same time, in the last 20 years if you see, the Nifty, NSE Nifty, every year used to give a return of more than 13% CAGR. So 13% or 14% CAGR, no other asset class in India is given, including gold or maybe real estate or even the bank deposit or bonds or government securities or state government securities or state development loan or maybe compared to any other financial assets, that equity Nifty, NSE Nifty, no one has beaten NSE Nifty 50 for the last 20-24 years. But same time, right from the last Diwali 2021, that is November 2021 to till date, market is already corrected by the NSE Nifty has corrected more than Nifty index has corrected more than 24-25%. So that means it's given a high return also. Same time, it's risky. So the based on the global market development, is correcting now. So that's the equity assets. So again, what I want to say, the financial assets are volatile. I'm not talking about all the asset classes in the financial assets. Mainly talking about the equity assets, or could be even the like what Praveen has mentioned, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency we have seen more than 50-60% loss in last 1 year period. Even some cryptocurrencies, euro, U-term or whatever, it is corrected more than 65%. Yeah. So crypto, end of the day, is not regulated in India by Reserve Bank of India and others. government is not regulating. But same time, what I want to say, it has given a return to some of the investors. At the same time, today it is corrected very badly. So there is also some kind of alternate investment. Again, it's highly volatile. So we have to see what kind of a return. See, before investing any financial asset, we have to see the track record also to some extent. What kind of return Government of India Securities has given. Government of India Securities today, 10-year government securities trading around 7.45. And maybe, so that's a point is if you're investing say 1 lakh rupees, every year you will get around 7,400 rupees, for 1 lakh rupees investment. But that is the return is sure because the guarantee is given by the sovereign, Government of India. Government of India is giving a guarantee. That means that's 1 lakh what you're investing, you will get the principal back. Government is giving a guarantee. And of the government is rated more than AAA rated asset, rated by the any rating agency. But same time, other credit papers, you have a lot of Government of India PSUs, like an NTPC or maybe Power Grid Corporation. They are also rated AAA, but they will not give a return of, they will give a return higher than the government securities return. For 10-year government securities trading 7.4 means, even the Power Grid Corporation, any Government of India promoted public sector will be giving at least around 50 basis point higher spread for the 10-year point of view. But same time, the private sector company will be giving, compared to Government of India Securities, will be giving at least around 80 basis point, 0.8% higher. So based on the rating, again rating mapping, then if you go below the down of the yield curve, AA plus or AA minus, or A plus or A minus, then you will get a better accruals. But same time, the risk also is much more higher. So this what we have to forecast what kind of a return you will be getting on the asset classes. Assuming that I am investing in a A minus rated credit paper for 10 year, I am getting it say around 10% kind of a coupon rate. So what kind of a coupon of interest rate I will be getting for the bond, say 10 years later or 5 years later. So that's what that give the statistic asset allocation on the based on the long term forecast of expected return. So based on this, we have to give a allocation. This is what we are mentioning about the asset allocation of the various financial assets. Next slide. So these are the various asset classes like what we discussed some time back. You have a direct equity. You can invest directly in the equity also, like directly investing in Infosys or directly investing in a say ICICI Bank, kind of a name, direct equity investment. Then you can invest through the equity mutual fund also. There are near about some 47 mutual fund because Government of India has given approval. Starting from ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, various mutual fund, SBI Mutual Fund. So there are all these mutual fund also floating various equity schemes. So the equity scheme also provide return, So that explains about the equity mutual fund investment. Then you want to take a higher risk, then you can go through the portfolio management services. So there is exclusively designed for your requirement. So, but the only thing is as per Government of India SEBI, you need to have minimum 50 lakh rupees, minimum ticket size you have to give money to the any PMS portfolio manager. So when you give 50 lakh rupees according to your risk profiling, that portfolio manager, he will be deciding your equity asset, what kind of a sector you have to invest in, how much you have to allocate to the IT sector, how much to allocate to the banking sector, how much to allocate to the manufacturing sector, how much to allocate to the pharma healthcare sector. So he decide accordingly investing. So that comes under the PMS. Then you have various debt investment. Debt investment normally the return is moderate to low, but same time the risk also moderate to low. So that's the reason, when you getting aged, say after age of 55, 60, 65, you have to go put more money to work in the debt compared to putting money in the equity or maybe structured product. Structured product will give a return higher than the equity. It is a highly structured product, So, but same time the risk level also very high here, There are various kind of structured products are available in India for last 10 years period, which is regulated by the SEBI and RBI. And here capital protected structured products are the non-capital protected structured assets are available. So here the return will be much more higher than equity, even compared to any equity mutual fund investment or even investing in direct equity or PMS. But same time the risk also much more higher. Then you have other alternative investment asset class what you mentioned, like gold, private equity. Private equity, it's the money is invested for the private startup companies, venture capital companies. So the risk is higher, but at the same time return also much more higher. I remember one of my friend, he invested in Paytm way back in 18 years or 19 years. He invested 1 lakh rupees. And when the Paytm was listed, he got some more than, can you imagine, what kind of return he would have got? He got more than 25 crores. 1 lakh rupees what he invested the starting of the Paytm, he got around 25 crores. So that's the return private equity gives. But same time, some of the private equity investment also, flops. The risk is much more higher. So, but in India, we are seeing a lot of private equity development in India, really great, growing well. Today, India is seeing more than 100 unicorns. One unicorn means the value is more than 7,700 crores. $1 billion above it's called unicorn, right? India has seen more than 100 unicorns, and the market is expecting, even the government of India also wanted another 3 years time, they want to see more than 1,000 unicorns. Means the company value more than say around 7,700 crores, whatever, So all this 7,700 crores market value of the company unicorns, like what you have seen earlier, Flipkart, or even the Paytm, or anything, Grow, so many companies we have seen, So if they have started with a capital of hardly around 20,000 rupees, or maybe 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. But only thing is that the entrepreneur who is young, he had a vision, he had a fire in the belly. So he wants to grow this company bigger scale to reach. So all this internet and even the mobile phone also helped them. So today India is seeing very good number of unicorns. That kind of unicorns, globally only 2 other countries are seeing ahead of India. One is China, and second is US. Third comes India. So India also investing a lot of money into the private equity and venture capital kind of investment. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming up in private equity and venture capital domain, and it is growing. Earlier, 15 years back, India used to be 10th or maybe 15th in the private equity investment getting from the outside India. Outside foreigners investing in Indian private equity or venture capital. Today, 15 years back, it used to be around 18th or 19th rank. And today it is a 3rd rank in the world. 3rd rank. Even we are ahead of Israel, and we are ahead of even UK or Australia and other countries. And the another one is alternative investment is commodities. Even the commodities also given a good return. Last 4 months we have seen, or 5 months, even the people who have bought the crude futures globally, even if you have bought in London Metal Exchange, crude futures, or NYMEX exchange, crude futures, that time it was, Brent crude was trading around $65 per barrel. Today it's crossing $110 per barrel. Even the commodities also given a good return. Same thing like for a copper futures, then your silver futures, zinc futures and everything. Again, the commodities demand supply globally, it gives a return accordingly. Then the other last asset class, what is there is the insurance. Here the return will be very lower. Return will be lower, but same time, you need to have a life insurance for protecting your life. Assuming that I am a breadwinner for my family, assuming my wife is not earning, I have 2 children, say around 5 years and 10 years. After, assuming that I have possibility, if I have an insurance policy, assuming that I met with the accident, I am no more. The insurance policy, what I have taken, it will be helpful for my 2 children's future requirement for food and shelter and others. So the life insurance policy also very important. The sector is growing. If you ask me, 50 years back only there used to be LIC of India. It's the only one life insurance company in India. Today we have more than 30 life insurance companies which is regulated by Government of India. Indian Insurance Regulatory Authority of India regulating it. Like that we have seen more than some 40 general insurance company. General insurance company normally provide your motor insurance, your house insurance, fire group insurance, marine insurance, everything. So this insurance sector also 30 years back used to be less than 40-50,000 crores of kind of asset under management in insurance sector. Today it is running into more than some 80 lakh crores of assets today. That sector also growing today. They are also providing various kind of insurance policy, could be life insurance policies, general insurance policies for the needy people and people who are really required. So today a lot of innovative product insurance policy also available, which we can take and we can protect yourself. So these are the important asset classes what we thought of explaining it here. Next. And here again what we mentioned at the beginning of the discussion, the risk and return, say like what Vinay said, the risk is higher for the equity, like we see the sectoral funds of equity schemes or sectoral fund of diversified equity funds, where diversified across various sectors, could be manufacturing sector, could be healthcare sector, could be even the IT sector, housing sector, banking sector. So those kind of a fund has given a return. If you ask me, SBI diversified equity fund for last 15 years has given a return of more than 15% CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. Like that sectoral fund, if you find out even the IT sector fund, ICICI Prudential IT sector fund for last 10 years has given a more than return of around 80-90%. Because IT also grown. If you ask me, Infosys from the day of listing in way back in 98 and today 2022, whatever you invested in Infosys in IPO around 1 lakh rupees, today its worth is more than around 18 or 20 crores. So it's grown. So that means sectoral fund also given a fabulous return. But again, that return is linked to the your sector performance also, plus volatility also, right? And so for example, last 3 months we have seen the market is corrected post Russia-Ukraine war. Most of the sectors hammered. Like the broader sector I told you, 50, NSE 50, from the Diwali 2021, November 2021 to today, almost we are 6 months later, it's corrected more than 25%. Same time, your sectoral index, like IT, you take your banking index, it's called BF, banking Nifty index, it's corrected more than 30-35%. So that means it's linked to the broader index, Nifty or Sensex. But when the broader index is also correct, your sectoral index also, we see the erosion. The market capitalization comes down. When the market capitalization comes down, then your return also comes down for the investors. So that's what the same time, that's what I highlighted to you. The return also higher, but same time the risk also very higher, sectoral funds. Whereas the lowest return is the liquid fund. Liquid fund, can you imagine what kind of return it gives for per year? Any idea? Vinay?
Something around 6%, 8% around.
6-8% slightly higher, but it was used to be there some 4-5 years back. Today it is giving average return of around 4%. Because the money is bought mainly the money market instrument, like your treasury bills, commercial papers, or overnight borrowing money, CDLO fund kind of a thing. It gives average return of around 4%. It used to be there around 6% 4 years or 5 years back. So that is the lowest return, but the risk also zero here. Because money is invested in for a very short-term instrument, short tenor period. When the short tenor period the money is getting invested, then your return on your risk is too low, will be very low. So the medium risk, like what Vinay said sometime back, Guild Fund, Government of India, Securities Fund, or the Income Fund, it's 100% pure debt. The money is invested across, for example, take Income Fund, the money is invested across various debt assets, including Government of India securities, state government securities, then state development loan, then you have a AAA PUC bond, then corporate bond like Reliance Industries, could be even A-rated, even Tarrant Pharma. So the return also will be much more higher. So when the liquid fund is giving return of around 4%, your guild fund, your income fund, the diversified income fund, will give an average return of per year is around 6%. Whereas normal year, I'm talking about year 2021 or even year calendar year 2020, your sectoral fund like your IT sector fund or even the pharma sector fund, you would have given a return of more than 20%, 22%. So these are various kind of a return based on the risk and the return. So these are major financial assets, the mutual fund from my point of view. So these are the return, risk and return and liquidity point of view, tax efficiency point of view, various asset classes what we have, what we explained for last whatever 30-40 minutes. So bank deposit to have a low risk, but same time the return also low. Return also low, right? We have a very good liquidity, but the tax efficiency is also low. Whereas if you take private equity, like what I mentioned, one of my friend who invested in Paytm 1 lakh rupees, he faced more than 20 crores or whatever, but then it was listed. So the risk is very high, and the return also very high, but liquidity is very low. It's almost zero. All right. So like that, even the equity also, equity asset class also, the return is high, and your liquidity is high. You can be able to sell any equity asset class within T+2. Today you sell and you'll get the money later tomorrow. So the liquidity is also good, and the tax efficiency also is high. Government of India, they want to encourage the equity asset class, so they have given a lot of tax benefit. If you hold any equity asset class, any mutual fund investment, or even the direct equity or PMS for more than 3 years, you end up paying only long-term capital gains tax of around 5%. So effectively it is nothing, right? So the taxation also equity is getting benefited, and the structured product also is the risk is liquidity is low, and whereas the tax efficiency is not right. So these are the various asset class in which various kind of a return is provided here. Yeah. I think I leave the floor to the any Q&A. If you have any question and answer, I can able to take the questions. Hope I have given some validation to the team here, to the participants.
Just like you said cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Indian government can't regulate it. Last few months ago, like February, the government of released. उन्होंने कहा था कि we charge few rate of taxes on who holds cryptocurrency and who make money. Then so the question is why the government जब regulate नहीं कर रही है, government का भी उस पर कोई बस नहीं है, तो वो उनसे tax क्यों लेगी?
See, it's a good question. See, crypto globally also, if you ask me, cryptocurrency globally also, not all the countries are regulated. Even Russia is banned, and even China also there is some restriction. No.
सर बट सर रशिया ने अपना खुद का क्रिप्टो करेंसी इंट्रोड्यूस किया तो बाहर के करेंसीज को बैन करे. फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा घर है, मैं अपने घर में जब मैं एक मेरी कंपनी है लाइक एसी की कंपनी है, तो मैं अपने घर में अपने एसी लगाऊंगा ना, मैं ग्री का या होंडा का लॉयड का एसी क्यों लगाऊंगा? तो रशिया
see India, what I understood from the finance minister's statement post union budget, what I understood is Nirmala Sitharaman madam wants, she is not banning the cryptocurrency. Banning, but she needs some extra time for making a regulation. But when I interacted with the RBI, some senior officials and deputy governors and others, they have some deputy governors and others, some senior management has some different view. But end of the day, they are also listening to the finance ministry. They are also listening to the finance ministry. So I'm expecting maybe another, now the post Russia-Ukraine war, government also facing a lot of turmoil, policies point of view and others. So I'm expecting another 5-6 months time, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, will introduce a regulation policy for the cryptocurrency. They will regulate. Because end of the day, government also earning good taxation, tax revenue by having a cryptocurrency in the market. So my understanding is even the once the finance minister's statement also very clearly mentioned, she doesn't want to ban cryptocurrency. So only thing is she needing some extra time. Even my understanding is they formed a parliamentary committee members, including some Lok Sabha MPs and Rajya Sabha MPs, to study the cryptocurrency in India as well as global market, mainly the developing countries, and what kind of a taxation, how to prevent that tax coding outside India, and leakage of taxation, everything. So the parliamentary committee, what is formed, they are studying the cryptocurrencies, and then once they given a report to the finance minister, then cabinet committee of economic affairs and the finance ministry will take a call. Definitely RBI will regulate the cryptocurrency section in that article, and it will come maybe another 6 months, 9 months time.
And sir, second thing is, like I said, Russia also introduced a cryptocurrency. China is also introduced, and the country Ethiopia. Then Ethiopia and then Colombia also were, मतलब वो भी अपना blockchain वगैरह introduce करने वाले हैं. Do you think कि जब RBI इस चीज को regulate करेगा cryptocurrencies को, तो क्या इंडिया भी अपना cryptocurrency जो है वो मार्केट में, क्योंकि cryptocurrencies को मार्केट में लाने के लिए आपको चाहिए bunch of money. Like if I introduce a cryptocurrency in Upstox or Grove, Vasir, then I have minimum amount is 1 lakh rupees, and I have some of knowledge of that technology like blockchains and some of the things. तो अगर जब RBI इसको जब रेगुलेट करेगा, तो जरूर थिंक यहाँ इंडिया भी अपना क्रिप्टो करेंसी इंट्रोड्यूस कर सकता है जब रेगुलेट करेगा तब, क्योंकि अभी गवर्नमेंट वैसे उस पर टैक्स तो ले रही है गवर्नमेंट, क्योंकि इसमें लाइक वो हो गया कि अगर मैं इसको एक सिंपल लैंग्वेज में कहूँ कि हाँ अभी जैसा चल रहा है चलने दो, लेकिन हमें उनसे मुनाफा चाहिए. लाइक शो मस्ट बी गो ऑन, बट देयर इज अ प्राइस.
Agree. See, government of India doesn't want to ban the cryptocurrency. See, they will allow, but currently there is a restriction. There is no regulation. Once they decide the policy framework or regulation, definitely they will allow. See, even if you ask me, 30 years back there was no options and futures in equity in India. And that time also there was unofficially there was a Batla trading used to take place in places like Surat, Ahmedabad and Gujarat. So now then 25 years back, government India regulated that the futures and options, everything. So now that after that in the Ahmedabad, Surat, Patra trading, unofficial Patra trading was erased, totally erased. Earlier used to be humongous crores, running into 1,000 crores of plus. After this, the government introduced the option future in the NSE, BSE, and legalize the system, that is disappearing. So here also government is taking some extra time to study nitty-gritty, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat, everything they're studying. And once the parliamentary committee has given a report, and then definitely now government will clear, then RT will introduce the funds. It is a matter of time.
And sir, like our director, Sir Dr. Amit Rai sir said, that the government listing top 10, that the person who has 25,000 in his and her pocket should be a
Top 10% in
top
the
10%.
Indians who are getting a salary.
Sir, do you think, is it correct?
The data is correct. What Dr. Amit Rai said is the data is
Data
correct.
is correct, but do you think कि आपको ऐसा लगता है कि जिसके पॉकेट में 25,000 रुपए हैं, क्या वो rich people के लिस्ट में आ सकते हैं? 25,000 rupees like 5,000 रुपए तो एक बच्चे की वो ट्यूशन फीस है उसमें चले जाते हैं. Then 5,000 rupees उसके वीक भर का उसका पेट्रोल, if they have a car and they have a bike, then 20,000 rupees. Then 10,000 rupees like महीने भर का राशन पानी खर्चा. And then if then emergency cases happen, then what he and she can do? The 25 rupees is very low amount.
I agree. But what Dr. Amit Rai said, the data I also read in Economic Times and some more financial papers. See, the top 10%, it's a top 10%. See, India has 140 crores population. So 10%, 10% comes people who are earning more than 45,000 rupees per month. But it is just fact today. In India, even there are people who are not earning even 5,000 rupees per month. There are people out there. Poor people, you go to Gaon, some villages, small villages, there are people out there, no doubt on it. That's the reason Government of India is directing a lot of schemes, welfare schemes, to help the needy people, really people who are very poor, aged people, physically challenged people, government is addressing it. So the data is correct, but when the India is growing, maybe when you are around age of 60, 65, your time, the top 10% will not be earning 25,000 rupees per month. It will be at least that time. It will be at least even after including the indexation of inflation, that will go to at least around 2 lakh rupees per month. Because India is growing, so slowly it is growing. Per capita income is growing. If you ask me per capita income, 40 years back we used to be around less than per capita income is India used to be whatever today we have compared to the 1 out of 20 and 1 out of 21. Now it is slowly growing. So all this industrialization and improving education, improving healthcare, improving all the infrastructure, everything. Slowly the per capita income also growing across country, even not only in metro like in Delhi, or even the small villages in UP or even Bihar, we are seeing a lot of growth is happening. It's happening. So things are improving. But the very, very small village, tier 6, tier 7, small village in a UP, the person may not be getting a job in this village, but he comes to Lucknow or goes to Kanpur or comes to Delhi, he got a job, he earns, he sends the money back to the parents or whatever the different people in the village. So that way the per capita income slowly is growing. That's a fact. That data you can verify in RBI's order. It is given. Thank you.